Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Get Growing Weekly Work Session with GetOiling. Today, I am so excited to share with you some amazing news. We have a really awesome guest speaker here today. But first, we have founders of GetOiling, Greg and Amanda Kilwine, here with us. Hey, guys. We also have Jessica, Colin, and Julie from our team here. And drum roll, you guys, we have Leslie Burris here today. As you're coming in the chat, let us know where you're coming in from. Do you know who Leslie is? Let us know in the chat. Do you have Brand Partner Academy? Have you been going through it? We want to hear from you. Head over to the chat. We want to hear all of what you have to say. So real quick, we are going to be giving the floor to Leslie to train and teach and encourage you today. But I also want to let you know, because this is a live call we hold every week at noon Eastern for the express purpose of helping you get things done in your business. If you came here looking for help today, I want to invite you to go ahead and put whatever questions or need for support that you have in the Q&A here on the live call so that we can work with you. And of course, we will save some space at the close of the call in the event that you need to actually kind of walk through some of the tech stuff together if that's something that's necessary. So please do go ahead and add those questions to the Q&A. We are blowing up over here. We've got Wisconsin, Ontario, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, New York, Channel Islands in the British Isles, Detroit, Indiana, follows Leslie on Insta, Rhode Island, Panama City, Gladstone, Missouri, Southern Illinois. We got folks all over here, you guys. So we got more. New York. Hey, what's up, New York? I'm here too. Minnesota, South Dakota, Philly suburbs, Modesto, California. All right, you guys, keep it going. We love to see you in the chat here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to speaker view. Again, if you're looking for help, put it in the Q&A. We are here to help you today. All right, so Leslie, let's talk. So a lot of you guys may already know Leslie from the Brand Partner Academy. If you don't know about Brand Partner Academy, we could talk about that today for sure as well. And Leslie does have a piece of it that she's actually going to be giving away to everyone here on the call. If you receive our emails, you may have already received it, but we'll show you how to get it here in just a little bit. But before we get to that, Leslie, could you tell us a little bit about who you are, your Young Living story, and kind of what brought us here today?
Hi. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am loving people coming in here and in the chat. You guys bring so much energy. I'm here for this. Okay, so hi, I'm Leslie Burris. You can call me LB. That's kind of what I branded myself on the world. And I have been with Young Living as a customer for 7 years. And I got hooked on peace and calming. That was my gateway, you guys. I still love peace and calming. In fact, I loved it so much, I decided to start a business about a year after I bought my first bottle of oil. And I ran my business from the opposite of peace and calm for the first 4.5 years. But I managed to, from a position of chaos and worry and fear, build all the way to platinum. So listen, if you guys are worried about your business, there's still results for you at the table, which is really, really helpful. However, about a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I started sensing a really big shift in Young Living culture and in the culture of social selling in general. And I was like, people are burning out. People are dropping like flies. People are having a hard time. They're not having joy in their business anymore. I wasn't having joy in my business anymore. And I was like, enough. I just sat and I, in order to like calm myself down, and this is really important, I feel like someone needs to hear this. If I could just calm myself down and my OGB didn't mean anything about me, what would I do different? And how could I like own my results and steward my results better? And so like, once I started being like, my OGB doesn't mean anything about me, I could actually start solving for problems that I was having in my business. And one of the biggest problems was training people was really confusing. I actually wasn't recruiting anybody. I slowed down on my recruiting because I didn't have a place where I felt confident and clear on how to train up a brand partner, because I didn't know how I got to a sustainable, amazing gold level. Honestly, I was like, this is what I did. Good luck. Here's how you might be able to do it. And that just didn't sit well with me. And what I noticed is, I can't duplicate me because there's only one LB, but I needed to have some kind of framework that was duplicable so people could latch onto it and build and be successful for themselves. And so about a year ago, I was really just watching my brand partners be weary, me being weary. I created something called the Brand Partner Academy. And it's just a framework where we train a brand new person who says yes. Or actually, it's not really a brand new person. I guess I would say probably the person who has shared oils with their friends and they got a commission for it and they got their product paid for. I'm thinking like $50 to $75. And they were like, that was cool. And then they're like, I'd like to earn $200 to $300 a month. Okay. And maybe they did that a couple times. And now they're like, I might as well go for silver. So the Brand Partner Academy really is designed for people who have already experienced some kind of success in Young Living, but they want to go to silver. They want to have a sustainable $1,000 to $2,000 a month business. And it trains people on how to do that, like from start to finish. So it's really wonderful. But I think the part that really people are latching onto right now is the weekly support. And it's fantastic. But let me go back. Do you want me just to go into what we're here for today, Ashley? Do you want me just to go in hot, or did you have another question?
Girl, the stage is yours. You do.
Okay.
Right.
So today
we did promise classes. So long as we do that.
So today, yeah. So I'm getting to that. So today I actually want to take one of the gold nuggets from the Brand Partner Academy and put it in your hands. And it actually has to do with teaching classes. There was another problem that when I actually calmed my heart down and I took a look at my organization, people had low belief and low value thoughts about classes. But the truth is, people in social selling are killing it with online parties and in-person parties. And if you're triggered by that, that's okay. I was too. But instead of being triggered, I have a business coach and she was like, what would it look like for you to be in a place where you would even consider or entertain the thought that online parties and in-person parties or classes is what we call them in Young Living. What would it look like if you knew you were going to be successful? What do you think a successful one looks like? And I sat with that and I actually created a framework and I've decided to give you guys the framework today. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to put it in your hands. I sent over a PDF and I have a framework for classes that work if you work it. And it's amazing. And it's probably like no other training you've ever heard before. And I'm speaking to you as somebody who enrolls 20 to 30 people a month over month for the last 7 months. And before this, you need to know this, because before you write me off as, well, she's a social media influencer, I wasn't always. I started with 350 followers, and month over month for the last 6 years, up until the last 6 months, I was enrolling 1 to 3 people every month over month for 6 years. Okay. So if you're like, I'm not a high enroller, that is actually going to block you from me giving you the blessing that I want to put in your hand, because it was using this framework that I've had wild success. Okay. So let's go ahead and just remove the stigma of a class. If you guys have been here for a while, I'm assuming you guys have been in the Young Living business for, anywhere from 3 months to 3 years to 3 decades. I don't know, but teaching a class, what we've seen has been like, set up a Facebook event, throw up a couple graphics, maybe do some copy paste, and then you feel really nervous about inviting people to that because you're like, I actually didn't create that, number one. So that's part of your number one problem is you're like, I don't feel comfortable inviting my friends to something I didn't create. But then the second problem comes in and you're like, I don't know how to create a class. Right? So you're like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a scientist. I don't know the constituents of lavender. That's okay. How to teach a class. You're going to have a PDF in your hand. It's a 2-page report that I use as a framework to come up with my own class. And I make the class once, I repurpose it over multiple platforms wherever I am. So if you're in person and that's your jam, this is for you. If you are on social media and you're like, I love Facebook, this is for you. You can literally take this framework and apply it anywhere you want to. And the idea is you are going to, the purpose of a class is to share a story or a topic that you know for sure because you either heard it from someone else or you've experienced it for yourself. 2 or 3 products that are going to move the needle in someone's life. A class is a transformation that took place that you either experienced or you heard someone else experience, and then you present that wherever you are. So in the paperwork, which you'll either be getting this afternoon or you already have it, teaching a class is as simple as picking a topic that means something to you and then sitting down and thinking through how you want to pull somebody through a class. So my framework is like, okay, what season am I in? What is bringing me a lot of peace right now? And how can I bless other people with this information? So I just had a baby in November, and I was planning for a calm labor. Okay. And I was like, that's going to be my class, a calm labor. All right. So I was like, all right, I've got that down. How do I want to tell people they can have a calm labor? Okay. Have I ever experienced that? I might not have ever experienced that, but you guys, listen, there are lots of people in Young Living who have experienced that. I'm just giving you one example. But I have a topic. Now I'm going to pick 2 or 3 products that I think every person who is about to have a baby and go through labor ought to have. For me, it was Valor, Peace and Calming, and I'll just pick those 2. We'll just keep it really simple because you can do an entire class off of 2 products. I just want you to know, like, one of the things that might be holding you back is like, there's 800 products. How do I choose my class? You're not going to actually choose a class based on a product. You're going to choose it for a transformation. My transformation is I'm going to help somebody who's afraid of labor have a couple tools in her pocket that are going to be there for her so she can be calm. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, the class is not like, we're going to show you what Valor's made of and how it's sourced. Because I want to tell you something, all of that could go away tomorrow. But the transformation never goes away. When someone experiences something, you can never take that experience from them, regardless of where it's like. I know some of you guys are like, but we have seed to seal. I know, but listen, even another company could come along and say, yeah, but we are soil to seal. Like, we even bring in our own soil and then we do seed to seal. Like, they could come in and outdo us. Do you know what I'm saying? But like, you can't outdo a transformation. So the idea of a class is to come up with a topic that you're emotionally connected to. You look up 2 products, and then you'll see from the sheet, you're going to find out some testimonies from other people who have used those products as well. Testimonies are emotionally charged, and people purchase items from a place of emotion, not information. I'm giving you a lot. I know that there's going to be a replay, so it's okay. But listen, only the ego says, I need to give them all the information. But a person who is humble says, I'm going to invite them into a transformation, and I'm going to show them how this transformation happened, and I'm going to give them the information based off of that. So it's not like you looking cool. It's not you knowing all the things. You notice how that posture of like teaching a class, when we make it more than inviting someone into a transformation, that it's usually about how we look and how our image is. But what I've noticed is a lot of brand partners who take the how to teach a class formula or framework and they implement it, they are having wild success. Do you know why? Because once you create a class once, you can reuse it all the time and on multiple platforms. Did you know that I get a lot of signups from a 30-second class on Instagram? Literally 30 seconds. And so people, when that removes another obstacle, because what do we hear all the time? Well, I don't have time to teach classes. Okay, but if you have a 30-second class that runs 24 hours for you on social media, do you not have time for that? Because I bet you do. But if you haven't had a framework for how to create a class, then that's been your problem. You're like, well, I don't know how to create this. So what's your testimony? What's your end result? You're sitting here and you're like, I want to see more women, or one woman in particular, have a more calm labor. And I'm going to bring up a couple of products that will help her with that. But here's the thing, I'm also going to bring her value on something else. You guys have seen this out on social media. People are like, I'm going to show you 3 tips that you can do without oils that will actually help you have a calm labor. Okay. So you're going to create something of high value, something. And then this is again, where you're going to look at an upline and you're like, oh, they talked about this and they have a crazy great story. How can I formulate that story and retell that story? Because if you didn't have a calm labor, then you're like, well, how do I share this transformation? Use the testimony of other people. A class is a testimony of success that will be passed on to someone else so they can too have the possibility of experiencing that transformation. Notice I also said possibility. Some of you guys literally don't do classes because you think, but what if they don't have the same results as me? What have I told you? That's not a problem. I tell people like, this may or may not work for you, but I know that this worked for me and I know that this worked for others, and you have nothing to lose. In fact, if you don't have this, you might actually lose, but you will never hurt, because another thing that we teach in the class is like, you're going to give people value. And then you can also do like a follow-up content. What I mean by that is like inside your class, you can show people that even when you're done with your labor, you have valor, and I can show you how to use that for postpartum. I can show you how to use that when your baby is having a hard time going to sleep. I'm going to show you how to use that. So I'm going to show you like 5 other ways to use valor once you create your account, or once you sign up, or once they get what they came for, then I'm going to lead them into another place so that I know that they can use their products 100 different ways. This is so much different than having a class that you're just slapping up a graphic and then being angry that people don't come to. You, as the CEO of your business, have to become somebody who's very compelling in your storytelling. And if you can burn this in your brain that a class is helping someone get a transformation, one that I've already personally experienced, or someone has personally experienced on their team, or a customer of my own, the more stories you share about that particular topic, and the more that you work through that framework and fill out your information, the better off you are. In the class PDF, you're also going to notice that I equip you to think for yourself, what 2 or 3 resources can I point people to that have nothing to do with me? For instance, in my calm labor class, I'm going to point them to the Gentle Babies book. I'm going to put things in people's hands that are like, because there are some people who want more information. They're not satisfied with the 30-second class, but I'm like, I know, I see you need this book. It's going to really walk you through. It's going to expand your collection if you want to, but I want you to think of transformation. What 2 or 3 products do you want to talk about? 2 or 3 other stories of testimonies from other people who have also experienced that. A couple resources that they need to have in their hands so they can find out more information. And then go in with, when you set up your account, this is what you can expect from me. It's a framework, and you can do this with anything you want to. Here's what we're seeing over in the Brand Partner Academy. Number 1, people are going back to in-person events. Because it's like, this is all we're doing. We're hanging out and we're sniffing product and we're getting to know it. And we've got our desk reference out. We're just going to have some coffee and donuts. We're just going to make this chill. And we're going to show people how to create their account and what they're going to experience. So you can take this calm labor thing and have people over who are about to have a baby and say, like, I'm having this event. I'd love to bless you with a cup of coffee. And this is what we're going to talk about. The more simplified you make your classes, the more people that will come, the more confidence you will have, which is why more people will come. Did you notice that sometimes you're like, I really don't want to have people come over because what if I say the wrong thing? Listen, when you're sharing a testimony that you know happened, and you are showing them a couple products, and then you're putting books in their hands, like literally that's the name of the game here. As brand partners with Young Living, and I want you to catch a vision for this. This will really help you when you sit down with that teach a class worksheet that you'll fill out, is as a brand partner, we're like the front desk at Costco. All right. So when you go to Costco, you can't even shop at Costco until you stop at member services, right? You have to sign up for an account. And then the person at member services, do you think that they know the constituents of the ramen noodles that are in the back on aisle 417? No, they don't. they can probably tell you where it is. So everybody that comes to you, like your job is to know the store. Your job is to know Young Living of like, I'm gonna show you how to get the best bang for your buck. Here's how you sign up. Here's what we offer. If you're looking for something specific, I can totally point it to you. But it's their job to go shopping to look what they're looking for. It's my job when I go to Costco to read the ingredients, to figure out if it's something that I want, right? I'm not going around like, I need member services to follow me around everywhere in the store. Nope, I don't. That's what brand partners are. We are the representatives that partner with Young Living, and we show people how to create an account, how to run their account, and how to get what they came for so that they can have results. We share stories of results because there are people out in the community who have problems. And if they heard that result, they'd be like, wait a second, that's something I need. Maybe I'll come into the door and stop at member services. And that's when your job begins. Does that make sense? So here's what's really cool about the class formulation as well, or the framework for teaching a class, is that you can take this concept and put it on any single platform you want. So you can run it in an Instagram story. You can do a post. You can do an email series. You could do an in-person event. A text message. Like for me, teaching a class is putting in money to my savings account. I'm not going to actually be collecting enrollments on the time that I launch the class, use the class, and do the class, but it's for my future. And I can repurpose it on every platform. And in my mind, when I train up other brand partners, I tell them, if you create one class, but you put it on 4 different platforms, like let's say you do an Instagram story, you do a Facebook post, you send out an email, and you put it in your VIP group or your essential oil group on Facebook, that's 4 classes. All right, the same thing. You've just done 4 classes. Anybody who does 4 classes a week over week for 52 weeks, get out of here, you will have results. You're gonna take that framework, and what's really even more impactful, you guys, I'm using classes that I created 3 years ago. Same classes. I'm literally signing people up with content that I created 4 years ago, which is really good news because some of you guys have content that you created 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, stuff that you're like, well, I need to come up with a new class. No, you actually don't. You could actually repurpose that, clean it up, and go put it on your platforms, and you could run it every April. You're like, this is what I do every April, because you're a CEO, right? You don't just think in 30-day cycles anymore. That's been a big problem with Young Living amongst our group, right? Is we're like, okay, it's the beginning of the month, it's the end of the month. Friends, there's no such thing as a beginning or the end of your month. It's infinite, which is really good news, because everything you cultivate this month is actually going to still be cultivated the next month. Like it's still there. It's still working. You can just repurpose it over and over and over again. And you can teach classes. And I want you to just imagine like your whole team creating these classes, going out there and doing the work from a position of peace, because they're not trying to make it overwhelming. They're recycling it. The weeks that I don't have a lot of time to work, I just go and I pull up things that I've used before. And I'm like, hey, I point people back to highlights all the time. For those of you guys who follow me on Instagram, you know I do this. Like, hey, I have a highlight. If you're about to have a baby, you need to go check out this postpartum stuff. I get signups from that created highlight. It's a class that I point people back to all the time. And it brings in enrollments. So teaching a class does not have to be overwhelming. Just remember, a class is a transformation that you tell people about. You show them what they did. You show them what you did. You point them to resources. You tell them where they can get it. And then you tell them what they can expect from you as a brand partner. That whole framework, the PDF that I blessed you guys with, that is available to you. Use it, fill it out. And if you're like, well, what does this mean? That's okay. Like this is not meant to be difficult. And if you like, some of you guys are like going to have to retrain your brain on teaching a class because you want to give everybody all the information at one time. because you've made up this story of like, if I don't tell them everything, then I'm being inauthentic. Friends, we have got to make this so easy. Your 4-year-old could understand it first. And once they have a small win, they will want to learn more. You can tell them about seed to seal once they get in your group. You can tell them about all the amazing things about our company. You're not selling our company, you guys. You are selling transformations. Our company is a playground for health and wellness. And some people have been feeling really terrible for a long time. So you guys being authentic and saying like, hey, I don't know about you guys, but if you haven't had a good night's sleep in like 8 weeks, if that's your story, show people like the top 3 ways you get a great night's sleep and incorporate something, 1 or 2 things from Young Living into it, but give them something to latch onto. Give them something that they can do that doesn't require an oil. And then if you want to go bougie, you need this. You're going to have so much confidence out in the field. People are not going to help but create an account with you. That's what I'm inviting you to. Teaching a class can be simple. It's as simple as you make it. It can be done in 30 seconds. It can be repurposed and used. Fill out the form, do your first class. When you do it, will you tag me? Seriously, when you do it, when you use that PDF and you're like, this is crazy, this is super good, tag me. I want to see it. You can tag me on Facebook or you can tag me on Instagram. I would love to see you guys working on the field. I know that the people in the Brand Partner Academy are coming alive. They're having results. They're going back to Senior Star because you know why? They're doing classes. That is how we build our business, is classes. All right. That's where I'm going to leave you guys. If there's any questions, drop them here. Or if some of the founders and facilitators have any questions.
I wanted to point out real quick, we do have, if you check the chat, the PDF that Leslie is talking about, you can find there. So make sure that you check that out. It is exactly as she just walked through today, and there's explanations of these different things, and you can actually print it out, fill it out, and put it to work. Leslie, how can somebody learn more about the Brand Partner Academy?
You can actually go over to leslieburris.com and you can learn more about the Brand Partner Academy over there. If you follow me on Instagram, I have a highlight called the Brand Partner Academy. We have about 3,000, almost, we're about to hit 3,000 people in there. People are re-ranking, they're working, they're duplicating, they're launching their teams. I want you to imagine if you're somebody who's like, I'm a senior star and I don't have any brand partners. My question would be, are you asking people to become a brand partner with you? And if you aren't, then that's your next step. And the Brand Partner Academy, you can plug them right into there. It's, I have a code for take half off, hashtag, or that's not hashtag, just take half off in all caps. You can get it for $19.50. That's like buying a book, you guys. It's not a monthly subscription. You're in, you get the full training. The person gets fully trained. And then we also offer weekly support where we talk about mind mess. Cause you guys, you're going to run into somebody who's like, you're doing an MLM, and we do Mind Mess Monday. And then we also do strategy calls on Wednesdays. So that's a part of the Brand Partner Academy. And you can find it again at leslieburris.com.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys, I've gone through this content. I actually had a couple of leaders who reached out to me who were like, have you heard about this? Would you recommend that I send it to my people? Because in a lot of cases, we will actually create, brand partner systems like for individual leaders on the back end, right? But I mean, you're giving this away. Like it's very little that you're charging. You're giving this away. And this is just such a simple, easy approach. Your comp plan videos in there, how you break it down is perfect. Just so much a great mindset in there. So definitely recommend you guys go and check that out. And then also you guys take action on what you've seen here today. You have such a powerful opportunity in front of you. You know what, let's talk about something real quick as well, Leslie, because I think that a big, sort of shift that we've all sort of experienced, those of us who've been around for several years, is sort of, where do we go now? How do we sort of look at our business or how we operate our business differently now in the US and Canada, at least, where we have the new website, right? So how do you feel like you've shifted specifically from like sort of the prior way of sharing to what we have now? Like, how is that important?
I think that's a really great question. So I think that for me, how I've shifted is actually not even been a company thing, although our company, so I just want to give a little context for some of the sadness that we've experienced as a company. There were a few people who came into Young Living and brought in millions of people. They went from a mom and pop 1994 small business to $1 billion business. Okay. And it was painful because we didn't have a website that sustained. We didn't have they had to catch up with us, which is amazing. And I would say that that's where we're at right now, is now that they've caught up, now they have a sustainable platform. Now they have a sustainable website. Now they have sustainable and understandable and relatable tools for people to use out in the field, that now we have an incredible opportunity to flood and bring them into their next set of problems. So that's my vision. The Brand Partner Academy is like, I've said this many times. I think that the Brand Partner Academy is going to be the next grassroots movement that brings us to 10 billion, because we have brand partners who have clear vision. They know what to do. They know how to do it. They know how to invite people into it. It's duplicable. It's not one person who's the shiny unicorn. It's a framework that anybody can use. And so with the new upgrades with the system, I'm just glad that now we have like clear clickable links. It's easier than ever for people to place orders. It's easier than ever for a brand partner to upgrade to a brand partner. It actually makes sense. We actually now have buy-in, whereas before we would be like, if you sign up, give us your social security number so you can like what? And they're like, I just want to buy oils. And so like now we have an actual buy-in. I think that that is a huge asset to us as brand partners today and as social sellers. It creates a lot of safety with the FTC. And so I believe it's a wonderful time to get started. And I believe because we have such a simple platform now, that more and more people can access the health products that they need and want, and more brand partners I actually think that we're not going to be selling a lot of oils in this season. I think we're going to be selling a lot of peace and a lot of transformations that people are hungry and ready for. So if we are, as brand partners, savvy to the market and can have a finger on the pulse of being like, okay, we have burned out brand partners. Well, that's our focus. How do we make this so easy for people to jump back in from a position of peace? And then once we do that, we're going to be like wildfire out in there. And Young Living they've set us up. They're ripe for 10 billion, but we're going to be the ones that drive it.
Love it. I love it. Oh, speaking of hungry, apparently you made bagels this morning. Somebody's on Insta.
I did. Apparently now I make sourdough everything. It's fine. I'm just being on brand with all you cool homesteaders.
That's amazing. So I think that there's something that's really awesome that you brought to the table today. And that is this idea that we are talking about, not about products, not about the details, but about what it can do for them, about the transformation that can happen. How many classes would you say you have maybe in rotation, just as an idea for folks who are, getting some ideas today?
That's a great question. So first of all, I've been around for 6 years, so my number is probably a bit higher. But in my opinion, if you have 4 classes that you're known for. So like for me, I'm known for babies and oils or pregnancy and oils because I've been pregnant 7 times. And so that one's in rotation. I have a thieves class in rotation. I think about the products that I have and actually use that I show people around the house. So I'm actually the classes that I lean on the most are in my highlights, and I point people back to them and I add to them as I'm doing it. So like, let's say you're talking about thieves and you love thieves cleaner and you're on social media. Like seriously, when you're cleaning your house, take a before and after. My kids know this. I get so excited when they draw on the walls. And now I've got them using the thieves scrub and the thieves cleaner. So while I'm doing that, I will take a picture. I'll show before and after. I'll get a picture of my kiddos and I'll be like, hey moms, if you've been like worried about your kids drawing on walls, I'd actually like to invite you into your piece. Like you never have to worry about your walls being drawn on when you have thieves and scrub in the house. And so like, I will take that and I will turn that into a class, like befores and afters of thieves. And then I'll put that in my highlights. I'll do a post on Instagram. I'll send out an email to my team. And then that's created a class for me. I did it on all 3 platforms, and then I can use that over and over again or add to it as my kids continue to color on the walls or do messy things around the house. So I have probably, I have actually a couple testimony highlights on my Instagram, one for EndoFlex, one for Pro Plus. I'll sometimes crowdsource and ask, but I would say in rotation, half a dozen classes that I'm leaning into and using all the time. And then, as I feel inspired to do something different or I learn something new, then I'll create something new.
I love it. And so if you were to maybe find yourself today, getting started with Young Living, or maybe you're just getting started or restarting your mindset in this new direction, but maybe you don't quite have a following or really feel like you've got a handle on social media, where would you start with classes?
That's a really, really good question. So I think for me, and I teach this in the Brand Partner Academy, I am a real firm believer in launching a business, going through a launch process. One of the things that has been missing in Young Living and in some network marketing in general is you'll get somebody who's excited about the products, and then they'll start sharing, but they didn't come out and say like, hey, I'm doing this as a business. They never came out. So there's like this hangout phase of like, should I share? Should I not share? So I really believe that it doesn't matter the size of your following. I think it's kind of like the guy who wakes up across the street. Like, let's say my neighbor wakes up and he's like, I'm going to start a pizza shop. And he's not on social media. Okay. And he's like, I'm going to go buy it. I'm going to go do it. And what he's going to do is he's not going to hide that from anybody. He's going to tell everybody, you're going to come to my pizza shop. This is what I have to offer. And really, brand partners, this is a real business. So I think giving yourself permission and having a launch phase, think of it as like a grand opening. Have yourself a grand opening and let people know, so that way you can have this foundation where you go and you find people and you talk to people. You can build the following. Listen, I had 350 followers on Instagram 4 years ago. It's not a follower problem. It's a confidence that you have a real business and you're going to have like a grand opening thing. And I teach this in the Brand Partner Academy. And then you can go from there. Once you give yourself permission to own the business, then you can tell people, I'm in business. This is what I do. This is just what I do. And it's going with me for the next 5 years. And that's just it. It has nothing to do with your following, because your following finds you as they know you have a business. It's like, it's such a paradigm shift, right? Because we're like, oh, I can't launch business because I have thousands of followers. The guy across the street is literally losing no sleep. He has a business on his heart and he's going to launch it. And he's actually going to put in a lot more sweat equity. And some of you guys, I can already see some of the questions. Would you do a grand opening if you, maybe if you were burned out? Listen, yes. If you haven't been working, or you were like, I took 2 years off, I rode the waves, or you had a baby, or you had a season where you put it down, or you have low morale in your team culture, and you're like, should I relaunch? Yeah, it's a great idea. Tell people what they can expect from you. So like, if I were to start, I would be like, I'm doing this. Here's what I'm doing. And here's what you can expect from me. Every week, I'm going to be posting a class. Every week, I'm going to be contributing this. And if you have any questions, like, you want to get on my email list. And that's how I would start, is I would just be like, this is what I'm doing. And then the hard work for you is to show up and do what you said you were going to do.
That's right. Oh, I love it. I love it. So guys, and this feeds right into the stuff that we're teaching all the time, right? So you're putting value first into the stuff that you're putting out on social. You're not saying, here's all of the things that Pro Plus does. It's, hey, are you a woman that feels these ways? Would you like to not? Let's talk about that. And then you talk about things that are not necessarily oiled, right? Because we're value first. It's not just to sell. And then you say, hey, by the way, you've got this. If you want a shortcut, I also have a thing for you. Quick question for you, Leslie, where that's concerned. When you're doing a class this way on social, are you asking, is a call to action to have people to DM you, or are you putting a link there? Like, what does that look like for you?
My DMs are a scary place. So, and so here's how I think of DMs versus a call to action. I do most of my enrollments come from a call to action. If I'm getting an enrollment from social media, I'm doing a call to action in my stories or in a post, and I'm being very clear on what I want them to do. This is very important. Listen to me. People are confused about what you do because you aren't clear, because you're afraid to ask them exactly what you want. And if you are, and I think Gary Vee calls it like the jab, punch, where like, if you're giving people value and this is just for your information. If you need peace about this, if you need rest about this, here's a tip. This has really, really helped me. If you want to go bougie, I got this over here. But if you want this, you're going to have to click this, go here and do this. But some people are so timid to do that. Listen, people want you to tell them what to do. I don't actually, back to what I was going to say, DMs to me are like knocking on someone's door and you going in their house. Whereas a call to action is like somebody slipping something in your mailbox. Which one do you have more time for, and which one feels more comfortable, right? There's some people I text, and there's some people I talk to via email. So I actually get, like I said, 20 to 30 signups a month, and I'm doing none of my business in the DMs. Like, I'm not saying, here's my link and you can purchase here. I am talking to people in my DMs and they're asking me questions about my stories. But the call to action, like, I always want them to go like, oh, if she doesn't have a link, I know she's got it in her highlights, which is why I like to point people to highlights too. Hey, if you want more information on going minimal, hey, if you want more information about mold and thieves, go to my highlight, because I have links in my highlights. So I don't want people, it's actually a bigger value for you to create a place where your people can get that information without having to directly ask you in a direct message. You want customers to be able to sign up with you at 2 a.m. when they're up nursing their baby and they're like, I'm having a hard time and I need to order some of that stuff. And I don't want them to think like, oh, I need to message her so I can find out. No, you need to have that in a place where they can access it at 2 a.m. and they never have to ask you. Does that make sense?
I love it.
Very clear call to actions.
Absolutely. And before, and kind of revisiting that question of, like I'm getting started or restarting myself, relaunching, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't have a big following. So you're just going to be consistent with that. Are you still, doing outreach otherwise? Like, what does that look like for you to get people's eyeballs on the classes?
Absolutely.
Maybe you don't
That's
have
a great question. So this is going to be for somebody who maybe has not exhausted. You got to warm up a new market. So now for me, now that I know I have all the classes, and I will tell you, I love strategy. When I was getting ready to have my baby in November, I knew a lot of people were going to be watching my live birth, because that was something I just really wanted to bless people with. I wanted people who were thinking about doing home birth to like be super inspired. And I knew that the people who were going to be inspired would want to know postpartum tips and tricks. So I really see the value in creating your classes and having some things on social media ready and in play. So that way, when your platform does grow, you have places where they're going to be served immediately. People are going to gobble up your content. So once you have that created, once you have like some helpful things that people can latch on to, now you can go out and you can start creating reels that get people to come over to your page. And it doesn't have to be with oils either. I don't do any reels on essential oils ever. But when they come, they like me, they think I'm funny, I create other value in the market, they come to my page and they know that they're going to get that information as well, if that makes sense. So creating a place where people can grab your classes, either via email or whatever you got going on, this is where you need to be a creative CEO. The framework works if you work it, so you can do it any way you want to. It doesn't matter about your following size. It doesn't matter how many people are on your team. If you create it and you get out there, and you'll sleep a lot better at night knowing that you are actually marketing to people, and that when they do land on your page, they're going to get so served. They're going to get so served. But some people are like, oh, I'm not going to do that now because I don't have a following, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm like, no, you need to create that place of service. So that way, when your following blows up, they'll stay.
There you go. All right. Ilka had a question here about, what you access at 2 a.m. So I think what we're talking about here is, you've got this content on social media, people are coming across it. And if they decide that they want to take you up on this tip and actually purchase the thing that you're recommending, you have a link and you're telling them where to find that link, right? So it might be
the link
in the post.
Yeah, so the link is actually in my highlights. So if I'm like, hey, if you've got a mold problem in your house, you need to check out my thieves highlight. In my thieves highlight, there's a few stories, and I'll be sharing, like I'm over there sharing, there's links to click to buy and enroll for thieves right in that link, right in that class. So I'm not actually asking someone to buy something while I'm sharing the heartfelt story. So like, let's say I heard so-and-so just bought a house and they just found out that it's riddled with mold and they didn't know, they didn't have a proper inspection before it happened. And so now they're like, what am I supposed to do? And they have little kids and they're concerned about it. I could go on my stories today and talk about that real story. Like, I have a friend who just woke up, and you guys, this happened to her and she is panicking, but you know what? She's resting easy because she knows she has a bottle of thieves and a diffuser. And here's what she's doing. Did you know that thieves is actually really good for mold? You need to go check out this highlight. I didn't even drop a link. I didn't do anything. I was just sharing a story that people could latch onto and be captivated. And what they're thinking is like, I know someone who has mold. Oh my gosh. I know someone. Oh my gosh. I just had the same friend. This happened to this is the same thing. She totally needs to come here and see this. She needs to go, because she doesn't have the diffuser in thieves. She doesn't have the same piece that she's talking about her friend has. You see what I'm saying there? Like, that is, you can create that kind of culture in your page.
I love it. So you guys, this is, I think, a really important thing for everyone to know and remember as a distinction here. A lot of what we teach, the majority of what we teach, is not social media strategy, right? On our channel, what we do with our platform, we help you to build the infrastructure that supports your visibility when you're going out and running a social strategy. What Leslie is talking about today and what you could be taking advantage of in the Brand Partner Academy isn't just the basics of understanding. I mean, it's kind of everything that you need to know when you decide that you want to start taking this business seriously and build it. But what she's talking about here with classes, this is, I mean, yes, you can do it in other ways, but if you've been looking for an Instagram strategy, a social media strategy, like a way to really kind of, like, we got questions here, like, what is highlights? Is that we're talking this is an Instagram thing.
Yeah.
This is like, you're gonna learn a little bit of what you could do with social. If you've been wondering how you could put yourself out there, that's exactly what this is. So if you go to leslieburris.com, scroll down till you see Brand Partner Academy, and that was take half off, all one word is the code.
Yep.
You get it for
Take
$19.50.
Yep. Take half off, one word. I think it's all in caps. I'll make sure that it's I'll put something out on my Instagram. If you guys follow me, I'll put something on there where you guys can get to it today, or just check out my highlight. A highlight is on Instagram, those little bubbles in your profile. Yep. Greg's got it. Thank you, Greg.
There you go.
Yeah. And listen, the teaching a class framework that you guys have in your hand is not just social media. You'll notice I have a few bubbles on there. You can do this in person. You can do this in an email. You can do this in a Zoom call, private little thing where you're just hanging with your friends. The framework for the class will translate to any place you want to build your business, which is so awesome, because some people are saying peace out to social media and they're looking for a new home, and they're like, that's fine. This does not, being on social media 100% does not dictate your success or lack of success. So
yeah, absolutely. So use this to create your events that you host using your GetOiling site, add them to your social channels. You could decide to go and raise the vibration on social media and take it back. You could certainly choose.
Totally. And I think what's really special about the GetOiling program too, is like, because you guys provide, like, when you guys are sitting down to create your class, now you have some content to pull from that you can give to your people. Like, when they want more information, like that's the beauty of it. Like, you're gonna share the story, but then the content that you point people to, or the framework and the emails and the work that comes with it, you're partnered with somebody that's already done that, so that you can utilize it and you can get back to work learning how to tell stories and captivating hearts. That's your work. I love that.
There's a question here about signing up new members. It sounds like what happens is in your highlights, you are actually walking them through, click here, do this, do that. So you're actually you're telling them in the video what they need to do.
Yeah, create your free account here. Click. It's right in my stories. Everybody on Instagram has the ability to do that now. And you can do that like via Facebook. Again, when people come back and say like, DM me, some people are like, you want me to like walk in your house to get something from you? Cause right. But if you're like, no, this is like out in the public for everybody to see, you can click, like go create your free account with Young Living. Like guys, this is amazing. By the way, people can create a free account with Young Living with your link. And then once they sign up, you have their email address there in your downline. You could educate the mess out of them and serve them, and they'll buy when they buy.
Yep. Yep. You guys remember that, right?
So,
We had
what
Janelle
we're
on.
like, what's something that I'm creating for my customer experience right now is like, they're going to get a welcome email from me, like a video. And then I'm going to say, did you buy something? Or are you thinking about buying something? Because if they bought something, I'm going to show them like how to pop a top, how to use it, what they're going to do first, share about it in our group. You're awesome. If they didn't buy yet, then it's going to trigger them to some emails that say like, I'm going to handle their objections, right? Like I'm going to serve them from a place of like, I know you're concerned, like, what if the lavender doesn't work? What if I told you there's 100 ways lavender works? And if it doesn't work for this thing that you really want to do, it's going to work for other things. You won't be wasting your money here.
There you go. I love it. I love it.
Just support your customers. Like when they use your enrollment link, just support them and be there for them however they decide to use it. And just remember, you as a brand partner, you are the front desk. You can totally point them with how to order, how to maximize essential rewards. You can show them how to get the freebies and how to, show them how to use that lemon. It's awesome. It's so much fun. I think Young Living is about to experience some fantastic momentum over the next 18 months.
Absolutely agreed here. So basically what happens here is, and in your case, you're posting this information, you're sharing this content. Sometimes you're actually pointing over to a thing that walks them through getting their free account, perhaps even, searching for and purchasing the product that you're recommending. And guys, you don't necessarily have to handhold for every step of this process like you once did. And I think that that's a mindset shift that we all ought to consider internalizing here, right? That
totally.
Once upon a time, you had to hold hands with the person, right?
Yeah, well, they used to hand out paper coupon codes for diffusers.
Right. I mean, you used to have to, sit and explain why, you need the social security number to order some oils, right? So
yes.
You don't have to do that anymore. You can get a free account. If you're in the US, I believe this is in Canada as well. If you send your ShareYL link, they can scroll down and it says, don't have an account, create one. You click the button, that's your customer now. They don't even have to place an order to create an account. And so Leslie, at that point, you've got systems you're following internally where you're reaching out and saying, hey, I'm so glad you're a customer. Come over to this group, right? Like, let's talk.
Yep. So as soon as I get an email, and I think this is probably a little bit next level. I wouldn't say that you should not run your business until you do this. But if you are someone like I'm getting, 3 to 4 emails a week from Young Living saying, hey, you have a new sign up, I can literally copy and paste their email address and put them in an email drip campaign that sends them a welcome email. How do you subscribe to save? How to host your first class? Like everything, they're going to get that without me actually having to write that every single time. If you're a longtime Young Living leader and I ask you, what are you going to do if 100 people sign up with you today? And how are you going to support them all today in the same level of caliber? And you're like, then that's your work.
Yep.
Like you've got to solve for that. And if you can solve for that, what's really great is like, I actually go really hard on classes now, because I have that infrastructure ready. So I'm like, I can go out and enroll 100 people. So some of you guys are like, I'm not comfortable doing that because I've been actually doing one-on-one Zoom meetings. I've been meeting with people like it has to be face-to-face, belly to belly. And I have to walk them through every step. And I'm like, well, what if you had a video that walked them through every step, which is why the Brand Partner Academy is so hot right now. Because I'm like, hey, go set up your direct deposit. Here's your share link and go get on my YL. And like, I tell them to stop the video, go do those 3 things. I can train 100 brand partners with that video. I couldn't do that one-on-one all day, every day. I have 6 children, you guys. Be present with your family. You can build a really great business and be present with your family by doing stuff like that.
I love it.
So now classes are like, no big deal. right?
So they're just running in the background. That's amazing. So
yes, I need a customer. I'd love to wake up in the morning and I'm like, if I had 50 customers or I had 5 people send me an email overnight that said, I upgraded a brand partner, what next? Or I can run a report in Virtual Office that's like, I have 7 new brand partners, people who upgraded last week. I put them in, I copy and paste their email, put them in a drip campaign, and it shows them exactly how to get set up in the Brand Partner Academy, what video to watch first, what to do next. Like I'm literally telling them in an email that was made once for 100 different people that they can go do this, and go get their results. And that is so clear and it's so kind. And that is the true CEO mindset of brand partners. And I think if we can train all the brand partners in the field to have confidence about teaching classes and how to support customers, and that it's a framework, and that it's like, that's the duplication that we've been missing. And that when we didn't have that, that's why we burned out.
there it is. You heard it there. All right. 2 more questions and we're going to get going. First, there's someone who did sign up for BPA and they're having trouble logging in. How can they reach out?
Yeah. So, for some reason, Kajabi does that. If you pull up in your browser, like you try to log in, if you put in Leslie dash, it'll usually pull up your history. If you add I'm going to put the button on my website, hang tight. I'll fix that when I get down out of here. But that's awesome. A simple fix. And I would also say, go and download the Kajabi app if you don't have it already. That will also clear up that.
Perfect. And then one last really good question from Cornelia. What would your advice be for other markets where you still have to register with PSK or a minimum of 100 PV? Was your strategy different before the big change of the website?
My strategy would be the same regardless of the website. I think that you may have to create something that will explain the steps clearly and without too much information. Well, like that. And again, that's been a sore spot of contention with Young Living is they're like, okay, do you want to buy this? You have to do a little dance, jump through a hoop, step over a blazing thing of fire. But they are working on that and they are making it more clear and kind. And so until then, I actually would have the same strategy, even like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I would show people how to create accounts. And they would have on hold for premium starter kit, the little triangle of death. But at least they created an account and I could serve them on why the value of the kit was there. And I had time. You guys, some of the biggest, greatest confident energy you could have is securing a place in your downline for somebody and giving, like, when you know that they're there, you are confident, you're calm, and you're not in a hurry for them to click buy. That energy and that service that you have that's your asset. That's your gold, is like, they're already there. I just get to serve them until they understand why they need this product. So I would not let anything that I shared here deter you from doing that just because you don't have a website. It's not an issue. I was doing this even before all the new rollouts. So
there you go.
Do classes that way. You can still support your customers when they sign on. You can handle objections before they come. It's not a problem.
Beautiful. Leslie, thank you so much for giving your time with us here today. And you guys do take advantage of this download that's been given. Watch this as a replay, reference this, start looking at your classes differently because this is working right now. Leslie, how many people are in the Brand Partner Academy?
3,000. We probably hit 3,000 after this call. So thanks for that.
Fabulous. It means so much to us just to be able to have you sharing this information here. We're here dedicated to helping this company grow and to take this movement to 10 billion, right? So
amen.
Let's all do this together. Yes. So you guys hop in the Brand Partner Academy. Again, the classes aren't just about social. You can use this formula to do any of the different types of classes you can do there. And guys, it's $20.
I know. But here's the thing. Like, I did that on purpose too, because I want you guys to consider incentivizing people upgrading to brand partner. I wanted to keep it low entry barrier for a reason. Number one, we were burned out. Young Living culture was burned out. They didn't want to buy another system. They didn't want to do another thing, right? So it's a place of healing if you're burned out, but it's also a simple place for your people that they can upgrade to brand partner and get properly trained and supported. Like by the time you upgrade to brand partner and get in the brand partner academy, you're looking at $50. $50 to possibly like to build yourself an incredible residual income. No brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait to see y'all in the brand partner academy. And Greg and Ashley, thank you so much for meeting with me and taking the time so we could set this up. Really appreciate the work that you guys are doing as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I look forward to, I look forward to maybe having you on again sometime, you guys.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. Y'all have a great week. We'll be back here same time next week, noon on Thursday. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.